What's up, everybody? I'm Chet Buchanan from 98.5 KLUC in Las Vegas. I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but I just want to prove that I, too, am not an idiot. Because just like you, I'm listening to the Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com. Believe that.
What up? What's happening? This is the Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com. We talked about this on The Edge on air on Thursday on our show, the Hoppe and SuperRICH show, and I had a very big opinion on it, Ryan. Boy, did I bring some anger, and I want to talk about this more in depth, about Josh Gordon, possibly SuperRICH, being suspended for a whole year. And now when you hear that, SuperRICH, Ryan, when you hear that Josh Gordon might be suspended for a whole year, what do you think of? What crimes do you think of that a guy could get suspended for in the NFL? Just, what do you think? Wife beating?
Yeah, beating up his wife.
Drunk driving, gun charges, rape, everything that's awful. In your wildest dreams, would you ever think that Roger Goodell at NFL Commish on Twitter would suspend a guy a whole year, Ryan, possibly for smoking marijuana? Would that ever touch your cranium?
No, and that's a little ridiculous that it would be a whole
year.
Yeah, like a whole year. I could see a couple games. I could see something else like that, or maybe even if it was a harder drug or something. But it's just, it's just marijuana.
No big deal. It wasn't like he was on scissor before and you only suspended him like 4 or 5 games, but when it's something lighter than scissor that Lil Wayne and Bieber are on, when it's weed, a drug that relaxes you, Ryan, he suspends them a whole year while you have one of the best running backs in the whole league, a guy who helped the team win a Super Bowl on the Ravens. You have Ray Rice dragging his unconscious wife out of an elevator. But no big deal. No big deal. You let Ray Lewis play 14 years after either murdering someone or seeing it happen. You let Ben Roethlisberger keep playing after he probably raped a college girl in a Birmingham nightclub bathroom. If that doesn't scream sketchy, Ryan, what does?
I mean, all those things seem pretty sketchy to me.
So get to this article by Canada.com because I'm in awe. Utter awe with where Roger Goodell is going. Does he just want to have suspensions just so that he can make more moolah? You make enough. You're the commissioner of the biggest sport in the world besides soccer. So what does it say?
Well, I mean, we can talk a little more about the article after my update, but this is from the Vancouver Sun.
Or how about this? Since we have to get to your update real quick, overall, I just want the audience to get a little teaser before your break. What is your take on players possibly being suspended a whole year while you have wife beaters, murderers, rapists, and drunk drivers playing football?
Yeah, I don't think that they should. We should either have a rule where they would be suspended for a whole year for like all those things, or just. But I mean, small things like marijuana use. I mean, just a couple.
Get the hell out of here.
I mean, I guess he should be suspended, but only for a couple games.
Maybe 3 or 4, I'd get that.
Yeah, but, it shouldn't be a whole season because that's a big loss to a team that's trying
to do something for once.
Yeah, they're at least trying. I mean, I know
they've never won a Super Bowl,
but they're at least trying.
This is how cursed Cleveland is, Ryan. They never won a Super Bowl. They won a championship the year before they created Super Bowls.
Right.
So that championship they won doesn't mean diddly squat. Okay, we will get to this and more. Call the show, 630-403-5200. That is 630-403-5200. And what is your Twitter account if people want to tweet their reaction to some of our comments?
You can tweet me at Ryan Stuprich, STUPRICH.
And I am at Hoppe Radio 893. Ryan, are you ready for the SportsTownChicago.com?
Yes, sir.
Update? All right.
Yes.
Let's go.
The Friday Sports Riot. The Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com. Call the show to get on the air and comment about what we are talking about. The fact that a weed smoker could potentially be banned for a whole year from the National Football League, yet wife beaters, drunk drivers, murderers, drug addicts, worse than weed, don't get suspended for a whole year. So call us and comment. 630-403-5200. That is 630-403-5200. And now, Ryan, maybe they're too shy. They're too much of wussies, and they don't want to get on the air. We're on Twitter at Hoppe Radio 893 and at Ryan STUP Rich. All right, Ryan, let's get to this article from Canada.com because this is going to get good.
Okay, so all major sports currently have in place prohibitions against the use of marijuana. Get caught with THC in your system, tough luck, buddy. You are suspended. However, maybe the National Football League will be the first to acknowledge that a little bit of the old Mary Jane might not be the most harmful substance ever to enter the body of a professional athlete.
I'm pretty sure if maybe you had some weed in Ray Rice, maybe he would have appreciated his wife and not beat the crap out of her unconscious, dragged her out of an elevator. Maybe if he was smoking weed, maybe if he had a blunt or something, I don't know, he would have relaxed and appreciated being with his hot wife. But no, he beat her up.
Right.
Maybe if Ben Roethlisberger was high, maybe he would have said, okay, this girl isn't worth my time. I'll pick somebody else up. Weed isn't the worst drug in the world. It's not cocaine. You never hear the phrase, weed is a hell of a drug. No, you hear cocaine is a hell of a drug. Get the hell out of here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So would you agree with that? That maybe if they were on weed, things would be a little bit better?
I mean, if you're on weed, you probably wouldn't do the things that you would have normally done, like especially for like guys like Ray Rice and Ben Roethlisberger.
Weed gives you like no energy. It makes you want to relax and chillax. It doesn't make you want to get all angry.
Right.
Like if you're angry on weed, there's something wrong with you, or you're doing it wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess they're all doing it wrong then. The news first broke earlier this week by Dan Garizano on ESPN.com, and this is a quote from that article. A source told ESPN.com on Tuesday that the renegotiation of the drug policy, which has been going on since 2011 and includes testing for human growth hormone, also will significantly increase the threshold for a positive marijuana test and reduce the punishments for violations involving that drug.
Oh, my God. Just stop. There really shouldn't be any violations. Guess what, Ryan? Here's what Roger Goodell, a.k.a. at NFL Commish on Twitter, should do. He should go to the sketchy part of his town, buy some weed, and try it out and relax. I'm not condoning drug use, but maybe smoking a little bit of the ganj would relax him, would help him chillax, and quit taking himself so seriously. You're the commissioner. You've been a businessman your whole life. You never played diddly squat of sports. The same thing with these sports analysts. You never played. You don't know what it's like taking hits to the head. It makes people crazy, Ryan.
Right.
Can you imagine? Yes, they're getting great paychecks. Yes, they get any girl they want. Yes, they get free VIP to anything. It be a Mickey D's or be a nightclub. You get free VIP. But at the same time, for your job, you're taking hits to the head, which shorten your life. So maybe if they want to smoke weed to relax the pain, that's never come up. What if the weed helps their pain? You agree with me?
Yeah, if it helps your pain, then obviously.
Obviously, most of them are probably just doing it just to get high, but you never know with some of these guys, especially when they have careers that are 4 years long.
Yeah.
But then again, that's probably not the case that you're smoking it just for pain, because Josh Gordon was in the supplemental draft. He was such a thug in college that he couldn't make it in a normal draft. You remember that part?
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. He got drafted in the supplemental draft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Browns took him.
Yeah. If this comes to pass, it would be a significant step for one of the big four North American sports and would recognize the reality that has been an open secret in the NFL for years. Many players use marijuana in the offseason to help cope with the pain and trauma of being a pro football player, which is true, I would think. However, ProFootballTalk.com put a damper on the story, saying nothing has yet been agreed upon. And this is a quote from that article. The only semi-compelling argument behind teams testing for pot is itself a realization or a rationalization that the testing is simply an intelligence test to see if the player will follow or successfully unfollow, an arbitrary rule that has no bearing whatsoever on their ability to do their job at a high level. So more of an obedience test than an intelligence test.
These guys can't even talk in a normal sentence. How are they supposed to pass an obedience test? Most of these guys are utter imbeciles. That's why they play football. That's why they're not lawyers. That's why they're not doctors, Super Rich. That's why they're not radio hosts. Or when they become radio hosts, they absolutely are atrocious because they can't get a word out.
Or if they're like a play-by-play announcer. For,
oh, my Lord.
Not a play-by-play, but most of the people.
Color commentator.
Yeah, they're all color commentators, and they just bring no insight into anything, really.
Like Jerry Rice. I love watching Jerry Rice play. One of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
He's not the best analysis ever. Even Mike Ditka. Those guys played football. They took hits to the head. They're not
none
exactly
of the guys on ESPN like that are very good, are they?
Or intelligent or bring good points. They're all biased.
Yeah.
But moving on.
Yeah. Let's see here. He argues that especially in a country, and he being the guy who wrote the sort of opposing article that I read.
Yeah.
He argues that especially in a country that has two states that have legalized the substance and to host the teams who meet in the Super Bowl, Seattle and Denver, the NFL's policy of outlawing the demon weed is antiquated and causes more harm than good.
Demon weed sounds good.
than with the constant parade of players being caught. The most recent high-profile example was Cleveland Browns superstar wide receiver wide receiver Josh Gordon, who is reportedly facing a year-long suspension for weed.
Superstar. I hate these articles. Just because they play a sport doesn't mean they're a superstar. Just like when you read a tabloid, is former NBA superstar Lamar Odom okay? He never was a superstar. Just because you play in the sport, Ryan, doesn't mean you're elite. It's the worst type of journalism when they use that word. Right. Just say player. You agree with me?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Lamar Odom's not a superstar.
It came to my mind because the whole Kardashians.
But let's get that straight. He's never a superstar.
Yeah. Or even like Hank Baskett, the guy that used to be going out with Kendrick Wilkinson. All the tabloids would be like, NFL superstar, even though he caught like 5 passes in 4 years on the Vikings and on the Eagles. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
How much more is in that article? Should we take a break and then come back and read some more?
There's not much more to the article. Just pretty much it's saying that that there are some people who want to be tested. Some people don't think it's a problem.
Yeah.
And the NFL is just going to cover themselves and make sure that nothing happens.
Of course, the NFL covers itself. That's what they do. That's what Roger Goodell does. He's a troll. He hides behind everything. He hides behind the little paycheck, the little fine. He doesn't want to address everything. He's okay with thugs playing in the league. But heaven forbid Jimmy Graham want to dunk on the goalpost after having an amazing catch for a touchdown. No, you're not allowed to do that. Heaven forbid Chad Ochocinco, as annoying as he was, heaven forbid he have a little fun and bring some entertainment to the game, Ryan, by dancing after a play. But yeah, you're allowed to have refs that can't get the job done, and you're not allowing people to smoke weed? Maybe everybody who works in the front office of the NFL should take a little bit of a hit and relax.
The Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com.
The Friday Sports Riot will be right back.